Today we are going to get right into learning about multiplication, and this will be a three-part multiplication series which also includes multiplying with decimals, so be on the lookout for that video within next few weeks. Let's get started. The best way to get started is with an example. With multiplication, it doesn't matter which number we put on the top or which number we put at the bottom, but it's always a good practice to put the number with most digits at the top and fewest digits at the bottom. So let's start off simple. Here we have 90 times 3. We will always need to work right to left by multiplying that number 3 by the number that is in the ones place, which in this case is the 0. When we multiply 0 times 3, we will get 0 because any number times 0 will give you 0. Once we worked with that 0, we then will continue to move to the left, and the next number to work with is the 9. We then need to multiply the 3 times the 9, and we will get a total answer of 270. Let's take a look at the next problem. Here we have 427 times 2. Here again, we want to work right to left, and we want to continue to multiply that single number times each number at the top from right to left. When you multiply 7 times 2, we will get 14. The 4 of that number stays here while the 1 carries over to the next number, so this number should be on top of the 2. So let me rephrase this another way. Once we are done multiplying 7 times 2, if we get a 2-digit number as an answer, you will carry the first digit of that 2-digit number, and you will move from the right to the left and place that number on the top of the next number. So in this case, the next number is 2, so the 1 will go on top of the 2. What we will do next is we will multiply 2 times 2 and then the number that we previously carried over, which is the 1. In this case, we will add it to the result of 4, so 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Since 5 is a single-digit number, luckily we do not have carry any numbers on top of the 4, so therefore we will put the 5 here. Okay, as we continue to work right to left, the last multiplication we have is 4 times 2, which in this case is equal to 8. So therefore, the answer to this problem is 854. Let's change this problem up a bit. Let's change the 4 to a 6. If we was to multiply 6 times 2, we instead would be left with a 12. We do not carry the 1 because there is no number here to the left. So for this problem in particular, we will get 1254. Here's the next question. Here we have 1007 times 5. This is relatively easy. We will continue to work right to left. We will multiply 5 times 7. 5 times 7 will give us 35, and we will carry the 3 of that 2-digit number and place it on the top of the 0. And we will leave the 5 here. Next, we will multiply 5 times 0 and then add 3. 5 times 0 will give you 0 because anything times 0 will give you 0, and then we will add 3. So that result will give us 3. And since it's a 1-digit number, we do not need to carry it. Next, we will multiply 5 times the next 0 over, and we will get 0. And lastly, we will multiply 5 times 1, and this will give us 5. So therefore, the answer is 5035. Here's the next question. Here we have 1,592 times 7. This one is more complicated. We will continue to work right to left. We will multiply 2 times 7. 2 times 7 will give us 14, and we will carry the 1 of that 2-digit number and place it on the top of the 9, and we will leave the 4 here. And next, we will multiply 9 times 7 and then add 1. 9 times 7 will give you 63, and then since there is a 1 on the top of the 9, we will add 1 to 63 and get a value of 64. We will carry the 6 and put the 4 here. Next, we will do 5 times 7. This result will give us 35, and since there is a 6 at the top of the 5, we will add 35 to 6 and get a value of 41. The 4 we will carry on top of the 1, and we will leave the 1 here. Lastly, we will multiply 1 times 7, and then since there is a 4 at the top of the 1, we will add 4 to the result, and we will get 7 plus 4, which will give us 11. Since there is no number after the 1, we will drop down the 11, and we will get a result of 11,144. Here's the next question, and here we have 1,798 times 8. We will again continue to work right to left. We will multiply 8 times 8. 8 times 8 will give us 64. We will carry the 6 of that 2-digit number and place it on the top of the 9, and we will leave the 4 here. Next, we will multiply 8 times 9 and then add 6. 8 times 9 will give you 72, and then since there is a 6 on the top of the 9, we will add 6 to 72 and get a value of 78. We will carry the 7 and put the 8 here. Next, we will do 7 times 8. This result will give us 56, and since there is a 7 at the top of the 7, we will add 7 to the 56 and get a value of 63. We will carry the 6 and put the 3 here. Finally, 8 times 1 will give you 8, and then add 6 to the 8, and you will get 14. So the final answer is 14,384. Let's look at a more complicated question. Here we have 59,819,875 times 6. This problem is definitely the most complicated question here, but let's briefly pause the video first to see if you can solve. Okay, we are back. If you cannot solve the problem, that's okay, we will go over this problem now. Again, here we have 59,819,875 times 6. We will again continue to work right to left, and we will multiply 6 times 5. 6 times 5 will give us 30. Since we have a result that is 2 digits, we will carry the 3 on top of the 7 and then leave the 0 here. Next, we will do 6 times 7. Since there is a 3 on top of the 7, we will add the result of 6 times 7, which is 42 to the 3, and we will get a result of 45. And we then need to carry the 4 and leave the 5 here. Next, we will do 6 times 8. Since there is a 4 on top of the 8, we will add the result of 6 times 8, which is 48 to the 4, and we will get a result of 52. We then need to carry the 5 and leave the 2 here. Next, we will do 6 times 9. 6 times 9 is 54, and when we add 54 to 5, we will get 59. Therefore, we will place that 5 on top of that 1. Next, we will do 6 times 1, which is simply 6. We will add 5 to the 6 and get a 2-digit number, which is 11. We will carry the 1 to the next number, and we will place the other 1 here. Next, we will do 8 times 6. 8 times 6 is 48, and since there is a 1 on top of the 8, then we will add the 1 to the 48, which will give us 49. We will carry the 4 and leave the 9 here. Next, we have 6 times 9. 6 times 9 is 54, and since there is a number on top of the 9, then we will add that to the 54, which is 58. Lastly, we will do 6 times 5 and then add the 5 to the result. Then we will get 35. Since there is no additional numbers, we will just drop down the 35. So the final answer to the problem is 358,919,250. Thanks y'all for taking the time to watch the first part of my multiplication 3-part series video. If you do not understand, I suggest you rewatch the video again and rewind if necessary. Doing this should make the concepts more clearer. Pretty soon I will be releasing the next 2-part series of the multiplication video. The videos will consist of multiplying decimals and more complicated multiplication problems, so definitely be on the lookout for that video. Also, if there is a certain math problem, math concept that you want me to go over or possibly want me to include in the multiplication video, be sure to leave it in the comment section. And also be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be safe, y'all.